Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much for joining us on short notice. I am extremely livid today about what you're about to see on this screen. The City of Los Angeles spends $1 billion a year trying to address homelessness in our city, within our city boundaries. And yet, we still have 46,000 people living without shelter within the City of Los Angeles. And sometimes it seems as though we are never able to catch up. And it's been widely assumed by many, and we hear anecdotally, that some of our surrounding cities and jurisdictions who don't spend their resources on providing services, who don't build shelters for their unhoused residents, who don't invest in permanent supportive housing, who don't do the basic human things necessary to address homelessness, are instead pushing their unhoused population into the City of Los Angeles. And yesterday, I was, knowing this, I was still stunned yesterday when we received video that was recorded in front of my district office in North Hollywood, which I'm going to show you in a moment, in which a Burbank Police Department vehicle pulled up in front of my office. A person was discharged from that vehicle in handcuffs. The handcuffs were removed. The person fell to the sidewalk, clearly experiencing a mental health crisis, as well as physical injuries. And the officers of the Burbank Police Department got back in their vehicle and drove back to Burbank. Without giving any aid to this person, without determining whether there was anyone who could provide services to this person, they dumped him in North Hollywood. And you will see the impact of that in a moment. Now, when we saw the video, we went into action, and my staff went out onto the streets of North Hollywood, drove around trying to find this person, and thankfully, my district director, Lorraine Diaz, located him and was able to secure medical care for this person through the Los Angeles Fire Department. So I want to take a moment now, if we can, and just show you this video. And for obvious reasons, we're not going to disclose the man's name. But as my staff conversed with him after he was located, it turns out that he had sought medical care in a hospital for what he thought was a broken leg. I don't know whether it was in fact broken or not, but clearly he had difficulty walking. That hospital called the Burbank Police Department because he was unruly And so the response to that was what you just saw. The Burbank Police Department putting this man in handcuffs and taking him to the city of Los Angeles, where someone else will deal with it. And obviously this is callous, cruel, inhumane, and also fundamentally irresponsible. The city of Los Angeles continues to do what we need to do in order to try to address the challenge of homelessness. We make the investments, we provide the services, we have extensive protocols within our own police department for how to deal with situations like this. We even enacted an ordinance in Los Angeles in 2008 to make it illegal for healthcare facilities to dump patients. At that point, it was mostly happening in Skid Row, where somebody who the hospital chose not to continue to provide care for would just simply take them to Skid Row and drop them off. Well, now we're seeing it elsewhere as well, including right in front of my office in North Hollywood. So today I introduced a motion that will call upon the city attorney, the district attorney, and the attorney general of California to investigate this matter and to ascertain what appropriate legal actions should be taken. I will also be contacting this afternoon the mayor of Burbank to demand that the city investigate this matter and look to changes in policy that can be made to try to avoid this kind of egregious situation from happening again. So that's what I have for you for now. I'd be happy to take your questions. Craig.
Thank you. Did we witness, in your opinion, on that video, a criminal act?
Well, I certainly am not prepared to be able to make a legal opinion about that. That's one of the reasons I would like our city attorney, who is capable of doing that, to investigate that. No, I'm not going to. Listen, I'm a lawyer. I'm not going to make gut judgments about what's legal and illegal. But what I will tell you is, as a human being, I was outraged by it and continue to be. And it's almost impossible to fathom, professionals who are trained and paid to protect and serve the public, to take somebody at this moment of maximum vulnerability, somebody seeking medical care, and literally dumping him on a sidewalk to fend for himself. It's a disgrace. And so that much I know. Whether there's legal ramifications, we will soon find out. Yes?
Yeah, Matthew Seedor, Fox 11. What other cities do you think are doing this to LA, and how often do you think this is happening?
It's a great question, and it's one we ask ourselves a lot, and I don't think there's really data or evidence that is useful in trying to answer that question. But we know it happens, and it's just rare that we actually get to see it with our own eyes like we can in this video. I would submit that if you see it happening like this on a random security camera, chances are it's happening a lot more often at times when we don't see it. Dakota?
Can you just clarify again the sequence of events with this man in the hospital and then how he got to the Burbank police? And then also, have you talked to the Burbank police? So, have they given any explanation of why they dropped this man off here?
No, I won't speak with them directly, but I will speak with their mayor, or I'll send this to their mayor today, and hope that the mayor will be able to investigate that and take that up with the police department. The sequence of events we're piecing together because, all we know is what we've been able to ascertain from talking to this gentleman, really. But it seems as though he was seeking health care at Providence St. Joseph Hospital. Some incident occurred by which the hospital staff determined him to be unruly. The police department responded to their request that they come. And then the rest is what you see. Yes.
If I may, how did this video come to light? And the source of the camera, is it on your office building?
It is. So this was a security camera that was the building that my district office is in. And really, it was the purest coincidence that the building management saw that something had happened, and they knew that we are tenants in the building, and so they reached out to us and said, is this the sort of thing that happens? Is this, is this something that is normal? Is this appropriate? You might want to know about it. And that was yesterday at around noon, I think. About noon we heard.
Around 8 a.m.
Well, it had happened, but I think we got the video. It happened around 8 a.m. We got the video a little bit later in the morning or early afternoon.
How do you know that this man is homeless? And how do you know his background beyond? I know.
So, great question. He does not appear, I'm not going to identify him by name, but we were able to determine that he does not appear in the HMIS system. We do have previous addresses where he was housed outside of the city of Los Angeles. He said to my staff that he recently became homeless outside of the city of Los Angeles. And so, just based on the conversations with him.
And were there talks at all about holding this with other members of the city council? Because we've heard from other members of the city council, specifically those who represent districts bordering Beverly Hills, where there's often encampments that the Beverly Hills Police Department is guilty of this as well. Is there a more broader action plan coordinated between other council members, or is it just about this one?
No, I certainly hope that there will be, and sorry, I kind of threw this together really last minute just because it was so infuriating, and I thought we got to get this to you guys to be able to tell the story. But part of the results of this motion will be, I hope, to have a more comprehensive discussion within the council, because we're all impacted by this. And the city has, I actually don't know how many jurisdictions border on the city, but it's quite a lot. And we are going to extraordinary lengths, and many of our neighbors are not, to provide services to people who are unhoused. And this is not and never has been a city of Los Angeles issue. It is a regional crisis that is the result of nationwide issues, a nationwide opioid crisis, a nationwide failure to address mental health challenges, a regional crisis of housing affordability. All of these are issues that impact the entire region, the entire state, even the entire nation, and yet people look to Los Angeles City Hall to be the remedy for that. And we are doing more than our share to provide those remedies. But folks, and people who are in public service in other areas need to start stepping up and doing their share as well.
Did you say physically where this man is right now? Is he in an LA shelter?
I don't know currently. He was taken back to a hospital facility. I don't know where he is right now.
Is there an indication that this drop-off location was intentional?
I have no idea. It's an interesting question. It could be, but it could be just simply that we're close to Burbank on the other side of the border, and that was good enough. So I can't say that. Yes.
I've covered so much news with you. I know when you're angry, and I see it. And with reason, that's a very difficult video to watch. How do you even begin the conversation you're going to have with the mayor of Burbank?
Well, I'm going to begin by sending him the video and saying, I don't want to make this sound as though I'm trying to, point fingers at other elected officials, and say you're responsible for this incident. Things happen. It isn't, I'm sure it's not with the knowledge of their city council, but they need to be aware of this. and they need to step up and figure out why is this happening within their police department and what policy changes do they need to make in order to ensure it doesn't happen. Dave.
Do you know of any other incident that your office has experienced where Burbank or Glendale dropped off a homeless person in your district, either at one of the homeless shelters or any other city facility?
Yes. Yes, it has happened more than once. One example that I can think of was when they showed up and dropped somebody off at our Homeless Services Navigation Center in North Hollywood. But at least that, at least that is a door to services. We built the Navigation Center specifically so people could drop in and have access to services. So I don't like it when the city of Burbank has regularly scheduled homeless abatements. That's what they call it, and that's what they list on their website. I don't like that. I don't like the fact that they don't have any shelter beds in the city of Burbank. I don't like the fact that they, even that they have had elected officials show up in the Los Angeles City Planning Commission to oppose my permanent supportive housing projects. I don't like those things, but dropping them off at the Navigation Center is at least a way to get that human being into some services. It's still shirking responsibility by our neighboring jurisdiction, but at least the person is going to get services. But if you just drop somebody off on a sidewalk and let him crawl away, you're clearly not concerned whatsoever about whether this person gets any services or not. Anything else?
Yeah, just to clarify,
Yeah.
you said they dropped them off at the Homeless Services Navigation Center. You're talking about the Burbank Police Department.
Yes.
And what year was that? 2020. October 2020. And that
Sorry,
was
can you say that again?
It was in 2022, that previous incident. And, again, does it annoy me? Yes. Did we make an issue of it? No, because at least we know the person is going to get services. That's why we built the place in the first place, so that they would get services. So it's an annoyance as a neighboring city, but it's not something that made me infuriated like this does. Any other examples that you guys can think of that you want to mention about Burbank PD? I mean, that was the one that...
The only thing with that one is they didn't walk the individual in.
No, of course.
Mentally unstable.
Yeah, I mean...
In October, the October 22 one, they also...
at the Navigation Center. It dropped him at the sidewalk and hoped that he'd be able to make it in the gate, yeah. But this one, I mean, there is no services that are available anywhere in the block of my district office.
It is a block away from the subway station, and we could see in 2018 there was an incident where we tried to accuse the county of dropping someone off, and they said, no, we were just putting him near a bus stop. If that's the answer back, the subway stop, what's your response to that?
What business do law enforcement officers have handcuffing a person in mental health crisis and then dropping them off even at the door of a subway? Once you take that person in, it seems to me it's your obligation to ensure that that person is at least going to be safe, if not get services. And this is the opposite of that. They disregarded this person's safety, personal well-being, healthcare status entirely, and just washed their hands of him.
If it turns out, like you said, this was done without the knowledge of the council, what would you like to see happen to these officers?
Well, what I'd like is what I've called for in the motion, is really, first, a thorough investigation. I want to know what happened. I want to know what the legal ramifications of that are. I want to know if this is part of Burbank policy or if this is an aberration. We don't know the answers to those things yet, but we're going to find out.
And then what do you make of the wherewithal of the management of the building to spot this and raise a red flag?
I really so appreciated it because, they didn't have to. But they reached out and contacted us just because they knew that we're a council office. And they saw it and they thought, this is wrong. Is this the sort of thing that, you know, happens all the time? This doesn't seem right. So they came to us to basically ask, what are you supposed to do about a situation like this? So when we asked them, well, can you show us what you're talking about? We were stunned to see it.
If I may add one more. When your staff found the man, where was he in terms of, like, was he just on the sidewalk? You know, where was he physically and how was he doing?
He was not doing well. He was not able to walk. He was still in the neighborhood. And, you know, so we called LAFD and they came out with a paramedic and were able to transport him, to care for him and transport him.
This was how many hours later? You said 8 o'clock.
Probably, since after 8, was it early afternoon, 3 o'clock? About 3 o'clock. So this guy for, how many hours is that?
6, 7 hours.
Yeah, at least. He was on his own.
Why wasn't he able to walk? What was wrong with this?
Not clear. I don't want to, you know, provide inaccurate medical info. He said that he thought that he had a broken leg. I don't know whether he had received any x-rays at Providence or anything like that. I have no idea.
When do you expect the council to vote on your motion?
I haven't thought about that. Did we assign it to a committee?
Rules and H&H.
Okay, so I'll get it through the Rules Committee real fast. I don't know about what the schedule of H&H is or whether it would be waived. It would depend on
So
that.
just to be clear, you can't request that the city attorney and state attorney general and all of them to investigate today.
I can and will as an individual. Yeah, but as I would like the council to take this vote and call upon the city attorney and the others to do that. But as of today, I'm asking. All right. Thank you all very much. Really appreciate your being with us. All right. Have a good day.